Okay, I turned off the highway onto a back road here. So hopefully you can hear me a little better over the wind noise. So yeah, something that's been on my mind. And this happens every time I run across these events, these situations, these occurrences, what have you. So there was a tragic motorcycle accident recently here in the area where a father and a son were riding two up on a bike 12:30 at night, and they got T-boned by a car at an intersection, and tragically both of them lost their lives. Incredibly sad, and it just you know, it's just senseless. I hate reading about things like that, and I like to process it as a motorcyclist. How do I continue to ride when I read such tragic things that happen, you know? I consider myself a fairly intelligent person, and I know motorcycles that are inherently dangerous. There's no safety net here. If a deer jumps out in front of me, if a car T-bones me, if I have a mechanical failure, what have you, it's gonna be a bad day. So I just wanted to talk about what I do to process these kind of thoughts, how I continue to keep going, keep riding, keep wanting to ride when it is such a, you know, potentially dangerous activity. Or is it? I've been riding a long time, decades, and I never really like talking about it because, not that I really subscribe to karma or fate or anything like that, but, or jinxing myself or something like that, but you know, I just never really like to talk about it. But I've never been in a motorcycle accident. I've never even laid my bike over. Not even in the garage. I've never dropped a bike. I've never wrecked on a bike. So, you know, that always makes me think about the old saying that there's two types of riders. One that has crashed and one that will crash. That's always in the back of my mind. It always is. Especially as the years go by where I haven't had mine. The objective, of course, is to never have mine. I'd love to be the guy at the end of my days that says, you know what? I rode a motorcycle for 50 years and never crashed. I'd be proud of that. I wouldn't be the guy that is proud of crashing. I don't see what's so, you know, I don't see why that's a feather in your cap to talk about how, you know, how great it is that, you know, oh, I crashed. Does that mean you'll never crash again? I don't know. Who's to say? You can't. You can't say. But getting back to how I process these tragic stories of fatal motorcycle accidents, my thoughts always go to what I personally can do. I wasn't there at the situation. I don't know the riding behavior. I don't know the intimate details of that situation. So I don't want to speak of that. But what I do know is how I ride, what I can do. Do I ride a little crazy at times? Well, yes, I do. I'll admit it. Do I push the boundaries? Oh, most definitely. Do I push my skill level? Most definitely. But I find a lot of times the biggest wake-up calls for me are the times when I'm being a little too complacent, where my brain hasn't gone into what I call hyper-focus mode, where I'm just riding and I'm daydreaming about something, or even vlogging, and your thoughts are elsewhere other than where they should be. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, wow, that was a close one. Whether it's a car, or something in the road, or maybe a tight corner that just came up on you, you weren't even expecting it. To me, that's been the most high risk of what I encounter. When I know that I'm going to go into some riding, you know, that's pushing the boundaries, that's pushing my skill levels, I go into hyper-focus mode. I'm watching, you know, not to blow my own horn a little bit, but it's kind of like, you know, jet fighter pilot mode. You build up that sixth sense, you build up that focus, you're watching the cars, you're watching the environment, you're feeling every little nuance of the bike. If you haven't built that up, if you're a newer rider, hopefully one day it will come to you. If it hasn't, try to build it up, because you can do it. You can get there. 360. I know you don't have eyes in the back of your head, and don't focus on your mirrors. And I don't want this to become a tutorial on how to ride, because everybody's there has their own tips and tricks and styles and methods, but hyper focus. It's worked for me, and it gets me back on that bike. But you know what these tragic stories also do is it makes me think of the possibilities. It makes me think, hey, do I want to go 120 right now? Is this a safe place to do it? Are the conditions right? I'm evaluating. Process those like a computer. Run the numbers, crunch the numbers. And if it comes back and that little sixth sense says, no, you know, I don't think now's the time to do that, don't do it. Because it's that one time where you ignore that sixth sense, when you ignore the results of that number crunching in your brain, that mushy CPU you've got rattling around in your head, that's when it's gonna bite you. And when it bites, it'll probably bite you hard. Yeah, I'm being a little dramatic, but it's a dramatic thing. I mean, we're literally talking about it, you know, not to get too morbid, but hey, let's be realistic. We are literally talking life or death situations. I love riding motorcycles, and I do think that responsible motorcycle riding is quite safe. If it wasn't, They probably, you know, would have regulated motorcycles out of existence by now. I think there's not a lot of data out there. You'll see that as you go out and do your own research, that there's just not a lot of data out there. A lot of the dangers of motorcycle riding are anecdotal. So, you know, I topped off the tank today. I think I had half a tank. It cost me $4.40. Got a full tank of gas. It says I can go another 133 miles. In the beautiful countryside and the beautiful weather. Me and this beautiful machine out on the open road. What more fun could you have for $4.40? None that I can think of. Are there dangers? Yeah. Do I have close calls? Oh yeah. Practically every time I go out. The last video I had a guy pull out in front of me. That's one of my biggest fears. People pulling out in front of you and you just don't have time to react. That's why you just have to stay vigilant. You have to stay safe. You want to go out and ride your motorcycle recklessly? You have to be prepared for the ramifications. That's why I kiss my wife goodbye every time I go out. Not in a dramatic way, not like, oh, darling, this may be the last time I ever say. But hey, you know, it's just a, hey, I'm leaving. And she'll say, okay, have fun, ride safe. I'll say, okay, I will. I'm fortunate, you know, my wife was born and raised in India, and in India, motorcycles and scooters are a way of life. It's a common mode of transportation. So there isn't this culture of motorcycles being inherently dangerous like it is in the States. Now there's some, you know, there's some criteria around that too that I don't really need to get into, but she's fully supportive of my riding, and I'm fortunate for that. She likes to ride with me. Oh, look at the little movie theater. That is so cool. Here's a little one-horse town, a little cowboy town. The Globe movie theater. That is super cool. Police department. See, this is what it's all about to me. Look at this. I'm the only one on the road. I've got beautiful, glorious hills and curves on a Thruxton. This is why you face the dangers of motorcycle riding for times like this. It makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, I'm probably running a little long on this video, so I'm gonna end it here, guys, and I'm gonna say have a great day. Did I already say that? I love these like rocky. Oh, here's another great scenic view. Let's slow down here and just take this in for a minute. Ooh, ah, wow, that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. It never gets old to me. It never gets old. And I'm like 20 minutes from my house. Hill country, Texas. Who would have thought? I thought Texas was as flat as Kansas. I was wrong. Here's another little roller coaster hill. Whee! And a nice big sweeper. Okay guys, have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye now.